Welcome back, everybody. The kitchen smells so good because we are making a big batch of soup. Christine, the happy cookie lady, is here, and you say this is one of your favorites.
Yes, I love using all the veggies that the hubby's growing.
So fresh tomato mushroom soup. Best part about this recipe is that it is guilt-free. How many calories?
It's 125 for 1 cup serving.
Wow. So this is something that, you know, and if I'm watching it, I love to eat soup because it kind of fills you up and makes you feel, you know, warm all over. And if it can be a, you know, healthy, light soup, even better. So we started out with, we did use butter. I'm sure you can use olive oil if you wanted to cut back.
Yeah, but you know, we're using 6 tablespoons for the whole recipe, and this makes 12 to 16 servings. So that's really the only quote-unquote naughty thing in the recipe. So I figured for the flavor.
All right. So
we're sauteing up a whole pound of mushrooms. Now, you know how you clean your mushrooms? You got your wet rag and you get the gunk off and everything. Yep. Well, I sat there with basically 2 pounds of mushrooms to clean, one for the batch I bought and one for the, I used my egg slicer to slice them.
That's such a great idea, so that you don't have to do them all yourself.
Right, and I forgot to bring my egg slicer along, so this one I got to do myself.
Even easier, buy them pre-sliced.
Well, yeah, I wasn't thinking.
It used to be that they were more expensive pre-sliced, but they're not anymore. So
just depends on what. And actually, the store I went to yesterday to get supplies didn't have any pre-sliced.
There you go.
Now for the tomatoes, the easiest way to get the skin off those is to cut the stem off. Okay. Make an X on the bottom.
With a knife, you just
stick them in boiling water for a little bit, and then I'm going to de-seed these. I just peeled the stuff right off.
Okay.
I mean the skin.
The skin.
But you leave it in for about that long, and then you take it and you stick it in ice water right away. And while you're cutting up the one or de-seeding the one, that one's pretty much, that skin's loosening up for you.
So at this point, you're at home, you're going to take these.
Normally you would saute those a little longer, but we don't have that long.
Okay.
So you would take those out.
Okay. And we're going to add the rest of the veggies, so we kind of do them in batches.
Add a little bit more butter to it.
Okay.
Because we just did those in 4 tablespoons.
Okay.
So now we're going to do the 2, and then we have 2 medium-sized onions.
Okay.
We're good. We got a couple of mushrooms in there, but it's not going to hurt anything.
Okay.
We got the onions, carrots, and celery, your typical.
Smells so good.
Typical stuff, and then some garlic. And we normally would cook that till it was soft.
So a few minutes here while you're working on the tomatoes.
I'm chopping up the tomatoes. Normally I would take the time to take most of the seeds out of these. I don't know why, I just have a thing about having the seeds in the soup. If it's going to be a blended soup, it doesn't bother me, but I think it's a texture thing for me.
Nothing smells so better than when you're making soup. I love making it on a Sunday. And then, like, for this soup, you know, then we've got it all week long to eat. Just something nice and healthy to have on hand for the week. It's a great habit to get into. Saves a ton of money, too. From, you know,
it does,
going out to eat. Yep.
Now pretend that's done till it's nice and soft.
Okay.
Then I'm adding about 3 tablespoons full of flour in there, and you mix that up really good.
It's going to thicken it just a little bit. It's not a real thick soup, but
yeah, there isn't a whole lot else in it to thicken. So.
And we've just got less than 2 minutes left. So our tomatoes.
We're going to add 8 cups of the
beef stock?
Beef stock, just beef broth is all that's in there. Beef broth. Now when I cut up that celery, I always save those white ends of the celery and the leaves, and I put them in a baggie, and when I make my chicken stock in the microwave, in the slow cooker overnight, I just throw them in there for the extra flavor. Oops.
You got to show me how to, we'll come back and do that homemade chicken stock recipe. That sounds like a good one. All right, so in go our tomatoes.
2 tomatoes. And
a can of tomato sauce.
Tomato sauce, a 15-ounce can of sauce.
And we've got some of the soup that's been simmering. How long do we normally, and then the mushrooms then go back in?
The mushrooms go back in. Most of the mushrooms go back in at this stage, and then we just save some to put in at the last 5 minutes.
Oh my goodness, this looks amazing. A little bit of bread to dip in there, and this is, you can just see it's full of vegetables. Christine, thanks so much for sharing.
You're welcome.
Great tips and tricks. Really nice. Great way to use that zucchini. Can't wait to make that zucchini cake. And you can get a hold of Christine and have her bake for you on Facebook. We will be back. Stay with us.